Hello everybody and welcome to the Coach Dad Podcast.
Well done, Austin.
So hello everybody and welcome back to the Coach Dad Podcast with me, your host, Ben. Now, it's been a while, it's been a long time. I can say last year was the last time I spoke to you guys and girls, and not be lying. It was probably a month and a half ago I last put out a podcast in sort of mid-December, and it's just been a bit of a whirlwind. It was nice to have a break at Christmas from the football and then not having to do a sort of podcast. I've sort of just haven't been in the frame of mind to do it, and it's nothing to do with, not wanting to do it. I like talking about football. I like giving, hints and tips and my experience of what I've gone through. I like to put it out there so anybody who listens might take something from it. But yeah, it's just been nice to have a little break. And also, football's been sort of hit and miss, where we've had a week with a game, and then a week off because of weather, and then a week back on again. So since we started up in the new year, just at the beginning of January, we've only played 2 games. I'll go into those games shortly. Same with Caleb; he's only played 2 games as well, because where we are, obviously, winter in England, Britain, UK, whatever you want to call it. And it's been pretty rotten with storms and frost, and it is winter, We're in February now as I record this. I'm on a Friday morning, looking out the window. It's grey, windy, dark, proper winter time, and it is what it is. But so yeah, that's the state of play at the minute. I've not gone away for good. I just had a break. When we left off, we just had a couple of games. We'd come off the back of our first positive win, positive result, our first sort of proper win, as I call it. Then we had a couple of games against the Wootton's teams, their under-8s team who were playing up, and the under-9s. And one game was really tough, and one game was really close. So we came off into Christmas on fairly buoyant that the new year would bring good things, fairly well placed. When you get a positive result finally in the bag after never winning a proper game, and you do it of your own accord with your own players that you've progressed with, and you've helped train them up to help them get them in the frame of mind of winning games, which is and winning a game with a group that have started at zero, and you train them, you coach them, you're with them every week, and you see them progress. So yeah, we go sort of had the break, and we thought we'd come into the new year with a new frame of mind, and really try and push on and build on what we have. So yeah, I'll get into that in the games. Just to sort of throw it back to just before Christmas, I was going to do a review and all the rest of it, and I just didn't have the time to sit down and pick everything apart. But just to sort of tie it all up in a little ball and get that put in the corner. Last season, just obviously, we came into the season on the back of not winning a game or getting close to winning a game, to then finally getting a positive result against a good team. So I would say, reviewing the first half of the season back, sort of grading it 1 to 10, I'd put it there about a 6 or a 7, because we've kicked on, massive improvement in the football that we play, massive improvement in attitude as well. When them things come together, we've gone on, we've put them together, the attitude, the development and the improvement came together in one game, and we finally got our just rewards. We got the positive win, or the positive result, should I say. Not that I say win. We've got the positive result. So yeah, all in all, up until December, first half of the season, good start for us. We worked hard. We got where we wanted to. We got that first positive result. So out of 10, I'd give it a 6. And yeah, I think that's fair. And then it gives us something more to aim for and something to go out for the second half of the season. Now, like I say, we got Christmas done, got that out of the way. both my boys got the new football boots, new gear and all the rest of it. And then when we started back up, put the first day up to come back, I think it was around the 10th of January, there or thereabouts, somewhere about then. They came into the first training session, and I even put a note on the group chat after that. The improvement and the behaviour was just magnificent. The attitude I got at that training session. Now, I was sort of worried coming into a bit of a break, bit of, time off, and they'd come in and might be like loaded guns, because attitude has been a big problem for me, I think, as these little boys go through certain things and they get a little bit older, a little bit wiser. And I've talked about behavioural issues that have arisen and stuff like that and how I deal with them. And it looked like we finally put them to bed, and they came into the first training session absolutely on fire. So yeah, I put that in the group chat, that just there's been a massive mark in attitude. So that was a good thing to come back to as well. And yeah, other than that, Caleb got straight back into his training as well. And yeah, that's pretty much sort of, like I say, that was pretty much the period of that I've not been reporting back on. Like I say, there weren't much football-wise to report on anyway. A couple of little things that have happened sort of football-wise. Caleb, I was actually busy that day. I think I was away. Oh, it was the wife's birthday, so I was away. So he went and watched Norwich play in the FA Cup. They lost 4-0 to Brighton, so, is what it is. It's a stadium tour as well. So, he's really loving his football. He's in that side of it now, going deep into watching. He's now going to watch Norwich play, and really, really got a love for football, sort of all things football now, and pushing on. And same with Austin again. I laid it out to him because I've got some tough decisions to make, and I don't know how other parents deal with this, or coaches and stuff like that. That not this season, and not next season, but next season is the final time that I will have kids playing opposite days. The season after, they will both be playing on a Sunday, and I'm not sure, and I hadn't really tackled how I'm going to negotiate and sort that out, because I love obviously coaching my boys, the boys that I coach. I love coaching my boy, and as well as I love watching Caleb play as well, because I like watching the game football. I like watching my boys play football as well. So I'm not sure how I'm going to get up and around that one. So I put it to Austin that, do you still want to play football? Because Caleb's gone, he's deep, he's in his football now, he's done. That's it, he's done. Whereas for a kid of Austin's age, about 8 or 9, it could go either way, really. Kids love football, then they fall out of love with football. I've had kids who come to football and they fell out of love with football. They play the season for me, and then they've decided football's not for them, and good players as well. So it is what it is. But I offered it to Austin again, and he said no. He is 100% wanting to play football. So yeah, there is that. What else is there? Oh, one other thing as well that I've done is entered a tournament. I've talked about how I didn't enter any tournaments before. They're long days. I don't think we were ready for a tournament last year. But with the positive results and the good football, I've now signed us up to one tournament, and I'm going to do another one as well, so ensure that everybody gets at least one tournament in my team, because obviously normally tournaments are squad restrictive, and I've got 11 signed on to play at the minute. Most you can only play 5 or 6 aside and take squads of 8 players or 7 players. So same again. So I've gone and signed up for a summer tournament, and I'll do another one in the next week or two as well. I don't know how other clubs do it, but our club, with our money that we pay and our membership and all the rest of it, the club will fund 2 tournaments for you. So that's nice of them to do that. So yeah, I've got one booked up, and I'll get the other one booked up as well. But yeah, as for an introduction and what we've been up to as myself and as a football team, this takes us right up to our very first game, where we played on the 18th of January. So what we now 7th of Feb. So yeah, a couple of 3 weeks ago, our first game against, I can't think it was against. I'm trying to think back. It was Dersingham. We were going to play Dersingham away. Had a couple of close games against those as well. That got called off due to a frosty pitch, so we didn't play those. Had another training session in the meantime, and it was the same for Caleb. His game got called off, so both of the games I'm going to now talk about happened on the same weekends, because we played a game on the 18th of January, and Caleb did as well. And then we had the looking at the dates, 25th of January, we were meant to have a game and they got called off. So, and I think Caleb's did as well. So, yes. I will, now throw it over to this week's football news.
This week's football news.
So, yes, this week's football news. Now, it's not this week's football news. It's pretty much last month's football news, because this February, I've not reported on any games in January. I've got 5 games just to run you back through, and I'll try and do it in chronological order, and I'll try and do it, and try and box it off and each game and all the rest of it, and get into a little caveat, and I'll get through them quick as I can, just go into it. But so I'm going to start with Caleb, actually. Normally I start with my own little team. I'm going to start with Caleb. So on the 19th of January, a couple of weeks ago, he had a game against a team called Marshland. Marshland are a very good team. They sit top of the league at the minute, and by some way, I believe, and they're a very, very good team. And Watlington played them in a cup game in the Mid-Norfolk Youth League Cup, and it was a very tight game early on, and Watlington didn't have any subs that day, so they all had to work hard. It's a miserable day. I remember cold, and unfortunately, I think they were doing fairly well in the first half, and then gave away a penalty, and both halves ended 2-0, 2-0, so 4-0 in the end. They ended up bowing out the cup that day. But again, Marshland are such a good football team. They're a well-drilled football team. You can see it. They again, different people use substitutions in different ways, and they're fairly good at freshening it up every 2 or 3 minutes, changing subs. And it seems like any player for them plays in, it doesn't matter the sort of what position they play. The football's always the same. They look to play nice little 1-2s. They don't panic with the ball under their foot. They put up a good account of themselves, but Marshall were just too strong on the day and won 4-0, so they were out of the cup. So I will now go over to my little team, Sholdham under-9s, Golds. We played Wisbech Town Acorns under-9s, and it was a home game, and we turned up, and I'll be honest, because us managers speak to each other behind the scenes and ask how we've been getting on and all the rest of it, my little under-9s, we played Watlington under-9s, and they hammered us. It was the only game this season where we've conceded, I believe, double figures against, maybe once or twice. No, that's a lie, actually. The second time, but it was the last time, and that was about 8 or 9, it was probably about 10, 11 games ago, and they got to double figures against us, and we had a poor showing that day. And that was one of the games where after that we really flipped the switch after that, and we've gone on to change players' formations and do some bits and bobs. But yeah, so they hit us for double figures. Now, Wisbech had a positive result against Watlington before Christmas, so when it's all on paper like that, you go into this sort of fair and the worst. There's a team who's hit us for double figures, playing the team. Now we're playing the team who's beat that team as well. So you go into it fearing the worst, but we sort of, I say fearing the worst, but we're at a stage now where we can compete, and it's just about, on our day, are we going to turn up now, and are we going to get anything from this? This is the way I'm approaching games now. Are we going to be on it? Let's be on it. Let's see what we can do. So we turned up that game. We set up. Me and Adam now have been through the formation, and we've looked at our players and our teams, and we've identified where we think you shouldn't pigeonhole players, but we think this starting line. If we start with this starting lineup all the time, we start strong, and then we build on it from there, and then we rotate accordingly depending on how the game's playing out. So we started the game, and we started the game really, really well, and we were dynamic with our football. We were playing some good football. It was one of those games that was probably 60-40 us in the first half. We had more of the ball in and around the area without creating too much, 1 or 2 shots. But at the other end, we were so strong. Defensively is the best we've been, and our goalkeeper, Stellan, didn't have a shot to save. He didn't really have any work to do. So on the balance of it, we were doing fairly well. And then trying to think about what time it was. I think we had it was late on it's actually the 18th minute. About the 18th minute in the game, these 25-minute halves we're playing now. But around the 18th minute, we were pressing away. Oscar, Adam's boy, the co-coach, Adam's boy, Oscar had a shot and handball in the area, blatant handball. He sort of put his hands up to save it. Penalty, a few minutes before half-time, he converts the penalty. We go a goal up. So we start getting a little bit twitchy and a bit nervous. And then get to half-time, and everything just felt calm and at ease, like the boys were playing football, they were doing the right things, they were battling for each other, they were getting in the right areas, and they would just seem to be working well as a unit in their position. So normally at half-time, we do a raft of changes when we decided to send them out exactly how they come off, and what we did is we only changed one player at a time, tactically. We didn't make anybody sit out any longer than they shouldn't do. Everyone's meant to get half a game, and everyone got half a game. But we just did it a little bit more tactically this time, as opposed to, let's get to 12 and a half minutes and change half the team up. We thought, right, no, we're going to, as coaches, we grow, and you'll learn from this as well. Also, other coaches are out there, and then you get more experienced coaches who know about things like this. Because it's all about what you want to do with your team. Are you there just to give everyone a run out, or do you want a bit of both? You want a bit of getting everyone to get the correct game time, but perhaps also get a bit of nous about them, about how to play a game and see a game out. And we're in that mode now where, like I say, everyone's had their game time and they've had their experience, and now we're trying to switch it up to that next step, that next stage of making the boys a little bit more tactically aware. And how is their in-game management? Yeah, they can pass the ball a little bit, they can shoot a little bit, but then this build other things into the game. So this is where we're at. We got to half-time, we sent the boys straight back out again as they come back in, and the message was saying, there was no shouting, it was just calm. It's just like, boys, just keep doing what you're doing and go out there, have fun, but just work hard, and you just never know. And we went out in the second half, and we would, if not as good, but I think we were even better, and we pushed on, and their goalkeeper made some really good saves, and Stellan had one or two little moments where he had a few things to deal with, but we ended up seeing the game out, and it was our second positive result. So, fearing the worst, expecting the best, and the boys went out there and delivered some great performances, really. Everyone was at it, everybody wanted the ball, everybody wanted to work hard for each other. One thing I did before the game, actually, was I asked the parents, because of behavioural stuff and stuff like that, I said, one thing I'm expecting from all the boys now is that I want them to stay with us on the sidelines all the time, and I would be warming up, ready to go on, sitting on the subs bench or in and about the area, because at 8 or 9 or whatever, they can wander off, and we had a little bit of kids just, I need a wee and going, but I said, can we make sure we're ready to go on? And everybody was ready. They were at it. Anybody who came on slotted straight in and put in a brilliant performance. So yeah, we ended that game with another positive result against a really good team. So we were I was made up, to be fair, like even more so perhaps than when you get that first win. I mean, it felt good, but to then go on in your next game or two after to do it, and then because we'd beat the girls team, who were the Clenchwarton girls fairly heavily a few games before that, our win ratio in the last 6 games was gone from 0 to 50%. So it just shows you how quick a turnaround things can change for a low ability team who develop, and you give time and encouragement to developing players. They will go out there and do a job for you. You see players step up and do things that you hadn't seen before, and you think, we're on to a winner here, and we see that. And yeah, it was just a magnificent game. Everyone put in a shift, everyone did brilliant in that game, and I couldn't have been more proud of the boys who went out there and did it, and I was so made up for them because they felt it as well. They knew they'd worked hard for the win, and they were buzzing when they came off. So yeah, amazing stuff really, and you couldn't knock anybody. Everyone, like I say, put in a performance. My boy Austin had a really good game. He's now, I've noticed him in the last couple of 3 games as well. His work rate has increased. Now, ability on the ball still questionable. He'll get there with that, but his work rate, and I'll get into that with his next game as well, where he's just working hard now. But that's what the difference, I think, in this game. Everybody was just working to close that ball down, to get to the ball first, to want to win the tackle. Magnificent stuff. So, yeah, we was made up for that. So that concluded that weekend. The next weekend, the 26th, only Caleb had a game that weekend. And again, he played at home against a team called Rethley. He knows a lot of boys from Rethley because he's from that area in town, in Kings Lynn, and he lives in Rethley actually. So yeah, Rethley have beaten Watlington 2 times. I think they've played them already this season in fairly close games. You know, like they're always 3-2s, or there's always one goal in it. There's never much in it. But for the time I've been with where Caleb's been at Watlington and I've been taking him, I've never seen him beat Rethley over 2 seasons, so 4 games, and I think Rethley have managed to beat them each time. So again, came into this game, I think Rethley are maybe sitting second in the league, Watlington are 4th, 5th I think at the moment. I think it's about a 15-team league. So again, Caleb, he's I call him Mini Nev now, Mini Gary Neville. So he plays at right back now, and he does a fair job of his defending, and that's what I mean about it. He just needs to get a little bit better with his forward play, and that's to come. But he's working hard at his sort of readjusting to a new position. Obviously, predominantly playing midfield and that, but he's now shifted to right hand side. So I mean, like I say, when I was growing up, you only had sort of your Gary Neville. And your players. Actually, you had Cafu. It's not a bad person to look at. But yeah, you had sort of the fullback role isn't what it was back then when I used to play it, or I used to play football. I never used to play fullback, but when you played left or right back, you know, as we were coming through the 2000s and that, you had your Ashley Coles, and even a bit earlier than that, like Roberto Carlos and Cafus and stuff like that. But they're a different type of player now to the systems that the football teams play now, and you get your Trippiers, Kyle Walkers, and your Trents, where defence and defending isn't always the best part of their game. It's getting forward and making up the numbers and adding the extra width in midfield and going forward. So plenty for him to look at, and as he adjusts to getting to grips with a new position. But yeah, he's took to that fairly well, to be fair, nailed that down. So yeah, they kicked off, and it was a fairly tight old affair, as they always are. And I think Rethley went 1 up, and then I think it got to half time, maybe 1-1 or 2, or was it 2-0? Rethley definitely went into the break winning, either 2-1 or 2-0, but it just had that sense about it that it felt a bit unjust, really. Like the balance weren't quite there. It's definitely a 50-50 game, but I think the goals were fairly, you know, they weren't being cut apart or anything like that. One was from a corner actually, and one might have been just the keeper Jack made a little mistake, but he definitely got back into the game in the second half, got his head back up, made some magnificent saves, and Watlington went on and not only scored 1, 2, but 3 goals, and ended up seeing the game winning 3-2. It was it's one of them games, you know, when you're down at half time and then you come back and win it in the second half. They stuck with it, amazing stuff, and Caleb had a cracking game. I think it came off because he's got this bit of an issue with his knee at the minute. I might have talked about it before, where he's had a growth spurt, and every now and then his knee sort of starts to give him a bit of chip after a sort of lengthy bit of exercise, like a game of football, when he starts putting a load through his knee. So yeah, he came off and they came away happy, 1-3-2. So that was a great result for them, and against, like I say, again, a team I've watched Caleb play against 4 times before and never win, and then come away with a victory. So it started to be a bit of a winning household at the minute and pushing on, and that's what it's great at the moment. So then Mod Lot had a bit of a break, and then only last weekend we had, because we were due to play Wisbech Acorns earlier in the season, but a cup game took precedent. We then had the reverse fixture, so we had to go away to Wisbech and play Wisbech. So 2 weeks between the games where we got the positive result. So now, of course, you turn up their place thinking, you know, expectation is high. It's like, let's go into this game, same attitude again. But yeah, struggled a little bit with this one because we were only at 9 for our squad. I didn't mention this but before against Wisbech. The nice thing against when we had the positive result against them is I had all the squad, all 11 players played, and they all got involved, and that was magnificent. That was. This time around, I only had 9 players, and my player of the match on the first game against Wisbech, Bill, could only play half a game because he had to be away, and he's such a great little player. We call him, he's like a mini Trent Alexander-Arnold. We play him sort of on the right-hand side, and he just ends up getting everywhere and doing everything. He's a great little player. So I only had him for half a game, and then I only had I had Stellan arrive late, so we didn't have him in goal to start with. So now I'm a regular goalkeeper in. But again, we kept positive, and game kicked off, and we were doing fairly well. And then Wisbech got a corner about 10 minutes in, and they played a short one, and most of the boys stood around watching. They fired the cross in, it deflected off someone and went in. So we were a goal down, but the boys' head didn't drop again. I haven't talked about this, but that first 10 minutes, 15 minutes we played against Wisbech, we actually played some magnificent attacking football. Some of the best I've seen, like the confidence in working the ball forward. Most of the game was played in their half again. It's just that we couldn't convert. We struggle. We get in the right positions, we get in and around the box, but we don't have that killer instinct up front yet. So that's something we're targeting in training, and we're working on with a couple of boys to work on getting their shooting up and stuff like that. Well, we're going through the whole team, doing a few shooting bits and bobs like that, just to make us make us a little bit more clinical in and around the box and trying to score goals, because that's, you look at our results and it's one or two goals we score in most games. It's very often we get more than 1 or 2 goals, but if we defend well, then 1 or 2 goals end up being wins. But if we don't defend so well, then they end up being negative results, and that's the pattern. So the expectation is that we'll probably score 1 or 2 goals in most games. It's what we do at the other end, and that's what happened in our 2 wins. We won one game by 2-1 and won 1-0 because we've done the hard, the other part of the game, the defending, we done really well. So we didn't cut out a cross from a corner. Everybody stood about watching, deflecting and goes in. So again, when we don't make mistakes, the goals don't tend to happen, and we tend to be, a battling team like that. So yeah, we go a goal down, and then I think we got to half time, 1-0 it was. So a few changes, like I say, we only made one change. We swapped the goalkeeper, we put Stellan back. We had Stellan there then, so we put him in goal. And the message was much the same. Obviously, we lost Bill, so we had to then rejig a little bit. And we went into the game. The second half, the message was much the same. Just keep battling, keep working hard, try and get that ball forward as quick and as clinical as possible to look for your players in front of you. And we went out, and again, we were pretty much on the front foot, I would say. But then it started to maybe get more 50-50. Then we failed to clear our lines, as in just get the ball out and just kick it out. And they nipped in and scored to make it 2-0. Now, our heads could have dropped then, but we pushed on, and almost immediately after they scored their second goal, Oscar went on this great little run down the left-hand wing, cut it back to Tommy, who was rushing in, just side-footed it in, back in the game, 15 minutes to go, 2-1, and, we're playing really good football again. So this is the type of games we want to be involved in. Gone are the days, hopefully now after 15s, 2-1 with 15, we're getting ourselves battling back into games, and these are the little character traits we want to see. Yeah, we might not end up going on to win every game or get positive results, but it's nice, these little wins. You've got to take these little wins. So when you get back into games, like this, and then it's what you want. You want to see these little nuggets of encouragement. So there we were, 2-1, and unfortunately we just sort of then ran out of steam a little bit. Wisbech then come back at us, and they got a corner again, and we did not learn our lesson from the first half. Again, a short corner, whipped in, and I think it pretty much went straight in. And that was pretty much it. Game over, game put to bed. We couldn't get back into the game. We huffed and puffed, and we tried to create a little bit. We then, 5 minutes to go, switched it up and chucked a couple forward and slightly altered the formation and chased the game a bit. But yeah, it just sort of got away with us and ended up being a negative result. But again, so many positives in that. Like I say, I only had 9 of me available 9 of them are available, 11. Didn't have a regular goalkeeper in. Bill had to leave halfway through the game, so didn't get the full. Because of the nature of having 9. Sometimes some players end up staying on a lot, most of the game. He tends to be one because he's captain material. So he's such a leader out there for everybody. Leads by example. But yeah, so I lost him. So it's just encouragement because you look at what was left. Ability wise and the little players that we got out there, and they're just a credit to themselves because they can go out there and compete, and they just time after time they keep raising their game level each week, and even though we go from a positive result to a negative result and it's against the same team, you find out much more about those little boys in those negative moments, and they were, like I say, fantastic. And they went down. Yes, they made a couple of errors, as in we didn't close the ball down. But again, for coaches who are listening to this, what we did in our next training session was the one just gone is, what just happened to the game. We didn't close the ball down and we didn't shoot enough. That was all we were focused on in this training session just gone. We've done some drills like gates and stuff where it was just straight out for the gates. Everyone, I don't know if people know gates. There's various different games of gates, but we put 2 gates, left and right. We put a defender in the middle, level at the gates, and then at the other end we start the attacker with the ball, and the attacker's got to get through the gates. But as soon as I said go, the instruction was for the defender of the gates to just get straight out and close that ball down, close that runner down. And so that was what we went over that for 20 minutes in training, and the boys love that. Can we do that one again? Because it's a quick game, and then you rotate everybody as they go around 2 groups. And yes, we worked on that, and then we did a quick shooting drill, and we didn't really get enough time to training got away from me this week. I'll get into that in a little bit, but behavioural stuff again, a few little issues that end up costing us a bit of time, so didn't really get some shooting nailed down, but we've done a little bit on that. So yeah, it's just about targeting things that happen in games and then going on to work on them in your training. So that's what we did. So yeah, that was our game against Wisbech. So again, even though it was a negative result, still loads of positives to take out of it. And we go again. And then the same weekend, Caleb had another game against Marshland again. This time it was a league game away at their place. And cold morning, Caleb has actually his knee's been playing up a little bit, so it's like, do you want training got called off, I think. Did training get called off? Yes, training got called off, so he didn't have training because of the weather. So he had a good rest, and he says his knee was he's sort of 50-50 about it. And I was like, oh, come mate, let's just get you there, and we'll talk to your coaches or whatever, and just get you on. Because of logistics, because my wife was busy, I had to then drop him off at football, quickly shoot and meet her because my little girl had dance class, to then bring her back to the football. So I got to football, got back to his game, and it just kicked off. Been about 5 minutes. I missed the first 5 minutes, and he'd start, and he was on the right hand side again, right back, and sort of asked what the score was, 0-0, and it's such a tight game, a battling game. It's a really good game, and I keep telling him, like, he comes off in the last 2 previous games, even though one was a win and one was a really good game for him, even though they lost, but they battled to the end. Disappointed with, I let so-and-so get past me, I let a couple get past me, as in beat him or whatever. So that's just part and parcel, mate. You just got to battle, and it looked like they were all up for the battle, all the little Watlington players, boys and girls. They were magnificent, really, against Marshland, and it was all pretty much played in Watlington's half. They were probing Marshland, and it was basically Watlington was soaking up the pressure and trying to hit them on the break, and but they were, battle. It didn't look uncomfortable doing it. There weren't much coming in the way of clear-cut opportunities for Marshland. And Caleb was having a really good game. He was sort of winning his battles and getting his head up and looking to play the ball forward and passes over the top and passes in. Magnificent. They got to half-time, 0-0. And then they went out in the second half and got about 10 minutes into the game. And then, unfortunately, it weren't Caleb, but another boy, unfortunately, just sort of gave away a penalty, sort of jumped in a little bit late and caught the attacker, and they converted the penalty, and then went on to win the get a couple more and win the game. So yeah, but they were absolutely magnificent, Watling to her, against one of the sort of best defensive displays. They were battling away, and proper. It was one of them games. I keep telling sort of Caleb, these are the games that if you can keep 0-0 at half time into the second half, it only takes 1 break, 2 breaks, you're away, you get your goal, and then you sit back and defend the lead. And that's about sort of game management, team management. And they weren't far away from that, getting that done. But once that penalty went in, and then the sort of, I wouldn't say the floodgates opened because it wasn't that type of game. But then, a couple more, and that was game over, really. But one of the good things come out of it, he was awarded the man of the match for his performance on that day. He's well made up, and I don't normally say it's deserved, because it's your own job, but he did really well. I actually picked someone else. There's 2 awards. There's the parents player and the managers player. He got managers player, and I always, being a defender, I always end up picking the defender for player of the match. That's just where I am. Actually, no, I totally skipped this point. In goal, the regular goalkeeper was injured, so they had a standing goalkeeper, which was the manager's other son. I think he's the year below, and he used to play in goal, but he don't anymore. And he played in goal, and he was magnificent. So he made some really good saves in the second half. So I voted for him because he was magnificent as well. So again, little caveats to it. They didn't have their regular goalkeeper. They battled hard for 75%, 80% of the game, but then just once that penalty went in, that was pretty much it. It was an uphill task from there, but like I say, man of the match for him, and he was well made up with that, because he came off and he analysed his own game, talking to him in the car. He's like, I think only like one person got proper past me, but I managed to get back. So he's thinking about his positional play and his 1v1, who his direct opponent is, or people getting past him, getting goal side all the time. It's the slight little things that you don't get taught perhaps by a manager or a coach in a training session, because there's a lot going on. I'm a coach, I know that, but it's the little things you've got to sort of want to learn and pick up, moving from playing centre mid to right back. So really well. He did really well. So that's pretty much it for the football news, that last month's football news. So I'll get on to other bits now and leave that there. So looking to this weekend, tomorrow it is now, and Sunday, a couple of days away for me. Just looking at what we've got ahead now. Tomorrow I have my little team that I coach. We have a cup game. Ooh, the boys are excited when I said that, it's a Champions League. They all get excited. We've got a cup game, first round of the cup of where we're at, the sub cup. It's all the teams who were knocked out of the first round of the big cup. They end up going to a second cup, so they call this the sub cup. So we're in that, and we have a first round game, and of course it's against Outwell. The last time we played Outwell, of course, we got a positive result. So you go into sort of the mindset of we're at home, and the mindset, you could either get hoping for a victory, but it's not going to be that simple. It's not going to be that easy. We know that, and we've got to all be on our game. It's also penalties if it's closer, if it's drawing at full time, and obviously being close. We've played this team in pre-season and twice already now, so 3 times technically this season, and all the games have been decided by 1 goal. So I'm a little bit worried that I don't know if I'll be able to hack penalties if it goes that far. But so we play those in a cup game tomorrow, kick off at midday. Looking forward to that one. I think I've got pretty much a full squad, so I'm hoping for a positive result. A little bit nervous about it, to be honest with you, because the expectation is there now. But, it's a positive regardless of whatever. We'll look at the positives for whatever happens. And then Caleb on Sunday has got an away game against Dersingham Rovers. They played Dersingham Rovers early in the season. I think they won 2-1. And Dersingham sit in 6th, Wattington sit 5th at the minute. Wattington on 28 points and Dersingham on 21, so there's 7 points between them. Dersingham have a game in hand, but Wattington sit above them in the table, so that's going to be a close game again, I would imagine. So it's all about the battles this weekend. So yeah, got that to look forward to. I just want to quickly talk about I had something a little different that I've never had before, and now coaches will have this up and down the land. They will have similar things, but I had a girl come and train with us. Now she moved to the area, and parents sort of got in contact with someone within the club and put the details over to me. So I sort of made contact, not knowing what to expect, and she came and trained with us, and she was actually a really, really good little player, and I'm hoping she might stay about. So yeah, she's come and done a couple of training sessions with us. Speaking to her dad, though, obviously she's new to the area in the local school where we are, and she was hoping that she's a little bit hesitant because she was hoping that there would maybe be a few girls in there, or we might have a girls team, and unfortunately we don't. So me being me, I put it in our coaches group chat. Has anyone got any girls teams or teams with girls in? I don't want to lose a player like this, but it's all about finding the right environment for the player. So I've put a few options together, either locally and a bit further away. I had some people comment on it, saying they're now trying to get girls teams up for our age groups. There's 2 or 3 the dedicated ones, and also there's 3 or 4 clubs who are trying to get a girls team up and running for next season at the age group that we're at. So again, another thing for coaches, perhaps don't think if you've got a player who don't want to be with you that you've got to discard all the rest of it. So for example, I've now got this girl who's come and trained with us a couple of times. She's a great little player. I think she'd be an asset to us and slot right in. But if she's not feeling it and it's not right for her, I'm not just going to disregard it and sort of leave it. And these people are new to the area, so I've done my due diligence, I believe, and I've been kind, and I've gone out and compiled a little bit of option for them, and done what I think is the right thing. Like, if she's then going to go on and play football elsewhere, then so be it. It is what it is, and things happen. Obviously, I'm always looking to improve players, improve the squad, and obviously the dynamic changed a little bit. I thought the dynamic might change a little bit at training, as in terms of a girl coming into an all-boy group, and that might change things, and we might see some silly things. And we did for the first week, but I think that was just them being them. Settled down a little bit the second time she came and trained with us, and like I say, she slotted in really well. So I hope she does come and play for us. But again, no issues whatsoever if she then goes off and plays for another team who have got some girls within their ranks, and she can make some friends and build a confidence and playing football. Go on and play football that way. That is what it is. And yeah, maybe that's something I might look at for an episode further down the line. The dynamic of squads and all boys teams and girls teams. Obviously, I see it. My boy Caleb and his team, Watlington under 13s, they have 3 girls in their team, and they're very good players. And I think the advantage the girls have got, though, perhaps over the boys, I think advantage isn't the right word, but the thing that they have is a lot of the girls play Saturday football as well for a girls team, because there's a girls league as well. And I think the 3 girls who currently play, there was a 4th girl, but she's not played so much at the minute. So yeah, they get to play a bit of extra football, and there's not really too much discrepancy in the ability, shall I say. The only difference is the teams who are at the top end tend to be all boys, and that's just the nature of what it is. And I think that's just physics and chemistry and biology of a makeup of a young growing boy and a young growing girl, that at the top end, that boys may be a little bit further on. Again, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn or upsetting anybody here, but yeah, obviously as you get older and get towards the older age groups, that gap grows and grows and grows, and then you see the levels in what can be achieved. Is not saying that there's nothing wrong with the girl side of the game or anything like that. Like I say, I've just encouraged a girl to go and come and join us, because I think she's more than capable of playing for me and making a difference. But also, if she's not comfortable, she can go play elsewhere. And I think she'd, in her own age group, in a group of girls, I think she'd be a standout player. So, at the age groups that I'm currently coaching at, the ability between girls and boys is neither here or there. If you've got a good girl and a good boy, they ability wise, they're pretty much, you know, like for like. But at Caleb's age group, under 13s, 14s, when they're going through things like growing up, puberty and all the rest of it, and growth spurts, that boys have a lot more sort of, you know, things going on, and they end up growing bigger and stronger, and that's just nature. That's what it is. So yeah, like I say, I noticed that in Caleb's age group, certainly, that the teams at the top don't have any girls, and that's just what it is. Like Westland last season, just boys team, smashed the league, gone on to whatever, play in a different league, and they're winning that league. Now Marshland, who were sort of runners up last year, now this year they don't have no girls in their team. I think Reffley, who they have some tight games against, they may have one girl. And then the more you come down, there are more girls. So, and again, that's not a negative train for. That's just what it is. That's what I'm seeing out there. Like I say, in my age group, under 9s, under 8s last season, girls and boys can play against each other with no complications and no issues. But as you go through the age groups, obviously there's a lot of things go on both on and off the field that affect what happens on a football pitch. So yeah, I didn't know if the dynamic of having a girl on the team would change things, and it hasn't at all really, or come to training as it is anyway. I've had a couple of inquiries for girls to come and play, but it hasn't ever come to fruition. So yeah, it was nice to have a girl. And one of the sort of funny caveats to that is whenever I have a new boy turn up, this question's always, oh, you're right, how you doing, who do you support? And they'll say whoever, Man City, whoever the flavour of the week is, and who's your favourite player then? And it'll be, oh, Messi or Ronaldo, or it might be a player for Man United or Chelsea or whoever. And I'm quite quick because I've watched the men's game, and I've got always quick-witted and I always come back with a comeback just to, you know, break the ice. And they'll go, you know, Ronaldo's my favourite player. And I go, yeah, but what, Ronaldo? Messi's the best. Oh, no, he's not. And then, you know, you get a laugh going like that. So when this girl came, she had a West Ham kit on, and I asked her who her favourite player was, and she said Lauren Hemp, and I'm like, nope, I've got no comeback for that. Good on you. So yeah, just a funny little caveat to that. So yeah, it just shows you that, and then sort of that made me think, well, perhaps I'm a bit ignorant. I need to perhaps maybe brush up on my women's football, because I don't have any knowledge on it, and I know that's bad. I know we do well at international level, and I know the girls' side of the game is growing definitely at grassroots level, because I'm in and around that, and I don't really get too much involved when it's on TV or whatever. And I don't know if that makes me bad, or I mean, it's very seldom I get time to watch a football game anyway. And when I do, it's always Norwich, my team. So yeah, I don't really tend to know too much about the women's game. I think she plays for Man City, if I remember, Hemp. So and she's a good player. So that's about all my knowledge goes. So yeah, just a little funny caveat to having a girl in your team, and their heroes, they're the ones they look up to, and not your Ronaldos and you're not your thingy. So it's just, you've got to think differently as a coach. Like, let's say you've got to broaden your horizons maybe when a girl comes to town, because me thinking she'd end up saying, you know, support, you know, Man United, and perhaps not Rashford's, you know, or Fernandez is my favourite player or whatever. She comes totally left field, being a girl, her inspiration is a girl, and that's just magnificent. And that's what it is. And like I say, if she wants to go and play with a girls' team, I've got some options locally for them lined up. So it is what it is. So yeah, that's just another caveat there, as I say, another little tidbit for any coaches. Don't be off-put by girls coming to play, and don't narrow your options. If it isn't right, you've got to make it the right environment for all children, really. So like I say, if coming to play with us isn't going to be right for her, then so be it. But always give it that option. So yeah. So I am going to wrap up this week's episode. I'm going to try and get back on it now and get some good content out there. I've got some people I were speaking to about coming on, and I've probably neglected to speak to them about it. You know, the messages still in the inbox and all the rest of it. And that's down to me, that is. That's just sort of life is life, innit? I've got my bubble of work that I have to deal with. Then you got your bubble of your football, which takes up so much time. And then you got your other family as well. Say other family sounds bad, that doesn't. You got your family, you got your football family, you got your actual family, you got your work sort of family. I work for a family company, so I've got that as well. And it's just got so much going on, and then to put the time and effort into this as well is tough. And I want to make it work, and I want to make it grow and get stories out there and get other people on to share their experiences. And I will get to that. I've just got to get up and running and get my head into it again. And that's what this is. It's going to be a little feeler episode. I put that out there. So yeah. I actually didn't talk about it actually. I was just before we do wrap this up completely, I was meant to play in the week actually, 2 weeks ago, I was meant to play Austin's old team, Swaffham. We arranged a friendly for those against those on a Tuesday night. And that never came off again, so hoping to get that one sort of. I joked with my team that this is going to be a champion, so we're going to go away into new territory. We don't normally play, we don't normally travel that way. They were all excited to play a night game because it was going to be under the stadium floodlights, and unfortunately that never came off. So hoping to get that maybe in the book again, in the diary in the next couple of weeks. But no worries. Yeah, again, thanks for everyone for listening in, and we'll get back to it, get back on it, and we'll get this proper rocking, this podcast up to where I want it to be. If you want to be a guest and you want to come on, just ping me a message and we'll get a conversation going and talk about, why you're in football, if you're new to it, and how have you found it and all the rest of it. I really do want to get into that and talking to people, and I love asking questions, and I love to talking to other people about football. I got in trouble the other night. The wife had plans after football, after training on Wednesday, and said, if I can get back as quick as I can, please do, because she wants to then go out. So after training 6 till 7:15, I said, I'll knock it off 5 minutes early. I didn't. I finished at 7:15. And then I got chatting to the team we train next to us as well about how we're doing and stuff like that. And then next thing you know, I'm leaving the training, leaving the club about 25 to. I mean, I live 5 minutes away from it. Getting home just before. I had to drop a boy off as well who I took to training. So one of Austin's friends. So I didn't get back till just before 8. And normally get back about 25 past. So that's what football is. It takes over your lives, doesn't it? So anyways, thanks for listening, and listening again. Like I say, if you want to be a guest on there, just ping me a message. And if you're tuning back in, thanks for sticking around, and apologies for being away for a little while. It's just, like I say, life is busy, it's constant, and it's good though. So that's the main thing. Everything's positive, and look out for next week's podcast. Hopefully I'm going to have wouldn't it be good to go on a cup run, hey? Dare to dream. That's what I said to the boys. Dare to dream. We're going to Wembley. So, we'll see. So, thanks for listening, and I will catch you again next week.